Hello and welcome back to the Sideline Eye podcast. We're here for another review show and we're looking back at the ladies and the hurling wins from the weekend. This podcast is brought to you in association with McKeever's Teamwear, proud suppliers of all Armagh GA merchandise. So I'm delighted to have Kiva Morgan back on the show today, and we're going to talk about Armagh's big win over Tyrone at the weekend, and then I'm going to hear later on from Armagh Hurler of the Year from last season, Danny McGee, and he's going to talk us through Armagh's victory over Monaghan from Sunday as well. So Kiva, to start, a big win for Armagh, 5-9 to 110. Pretty impressive for the first game of the year.
Yeah, look, it was very impressive from their point of view. And I suppose, like within the first minute and a couple of seconds, they had a goal on the board, worked really hard to win that throw up. Niamh did very well to get it into Armagh hands, I suppose, when Tyrone really were on the up, in terms of winning that throw up. And it was just quick bang football. They were sharp, they reacted really quickly. And I suppose maybe a set play they're kind of working on. But look, in terms of an overall performance, Armagh, I'll be very happy with it. They were very clinical on goal. Obviously things that they've been working on, and lots of different goal scorers there, which is really promising as well. Overall, there's still things that they can work on, and I suppose that's good because it's the first match out, and you don't want to be the finished article at this stage. But they were confident, they were quite slick at times, played lovely off the shoulder football, good running pace, and they looked very fit.
We spoke last week, Kiva, about the need for Armagh to push on and hopefully get promotion this year. Obviously, they've 2 games left. They've Cavan, I think, coming up this weekend, and then Monaghan in round 3. But this was a perfect start to get them up and go and get a couple of points on the board and hopefully push on for promotion now over the next 2 games.
Yeah, look, it's all well and good us sitting back and saying, Armagh will probably annihilate Tyrone, but, you have a bit of nerves there. You don't know how things are going to go, and with things as well, wanting to perform at their best and probably reach the expectations of everybody. But they are in a good position. Monaghan played Cavan there, and Monaghan sneaked it by a late point, which would have shocked Cavan. But Armagh will have to be really on their guard because Cavan will be a real wounded dog here. And they wouldn't have expected Monaghan. I wouldn't have expected Monaghan to probably be as good as what they were against them. Not sure what the quality of the game was like. But, Cavan have the ability there. They have good players. And I know they would be Armagh's toughest test in this section. So, Armagh will have to up their game again a little bit because, yesterday I talked before about, being dragged down sometimes to other teams' levels. And the only thing I would say, the structure sometimes for Armagh went a bit wayward. Maybe people were looking to get on the score sheet or were pushing up a wee bit too much sometimes. And you'd have to be more disciplined against Cavan next weekend, I would think.
On the 5 goals, Kiva, not surprising that Armagh got 5 goals because they've such a great forward line, and literally anybody in that forward line could score. But 5 different goal scorers is probably what was the impressive thing. I think it was Aoife McCoy, Catherine Marley, Amy Mackin, Lahine as well, and I'm not sure who got the 5th one.
Niamh Reel, yeah, you have your homework
Niamh Reel.
Yeah.
So 5 different goal scorers is really impressive.
Yeah, look, for any team playing against that opposition, it's very, very difficult. You can't just say, "I will just mark Amy Mackin" out of it. The creativity that Armagh have, and that license to be able to let people have the confidence to score. A lot of teams shut people down and say, you can't go past this line, you can't do this, that, and the other. And I think it's really important to have a plan and a system, but also let creativity shine. These girls are county footballers. They know the right thing to do at the right time. And, it's great there. Great for the likes of Niamh Reel because she'd been in and out maybe last year. So she'll get a wee bit of confidence out of that. Good to see that Catherine can do the defending and the attacking as well. She'll take confidence out of that. Amy's penalty was first class, really, really good, as it would be. And it's lovely to see Aoife McCoy get on the board there again as well. I know she'd had a wee niggling injury, and she's such a fantastic player, such a direct runner, and so hard to stop.
And I suppose what makes it all the more impressive is when you go through the team and you realise Kelly Mullen and Caroline O'Hanlon weren't playing. So I suppose the squad depth that Armagh have, particularly in that forward line, probably when you're missing, 2 of your best players and 2 of the best players there has been for the last decade or whatever for Armagh, it shows the squad depth and the quality that Armagh now have in their team.
Yeah, look, I suppose that's something the management have been building over the last maybe 2-3 years. Armagh needed more depth in their squad. They needed young ones to step up as well and make the commitment to Armagh football, and those girls have done that. And it's great to see that they got their just reward yesterday. an awful lot of people came on in the second half. You know, I think all the subs got a run out, which was really, really good to see. And then, as you say, you know, I would love to have the likes of Caroline O'Hanlon, Kelly Mallon, Alex Clark at my disposal still to come into that squad. You know, that is so much depth, so much competition. You know, and if I was, you know, a management of an opposing team looking at that, I'd be saying, gosh, you know, that's a very, very difficult opposition when they have so much strength and depth.
And all the substitutes, I suppose the game was probably over at half time. It was over maybe after a couple of minutes when Armagh got the 2 early goals. You knew how the game was going to turn out. It was going to be hard to see Armagh getting pegged back after getting such a good start. But getting that lead, you spoke about it last week, and I think you sort of touched on it the other day again, keep about the level of competition maybe, and you know, Armagh being ahead of Tyrone at this stage of their development. And when you're so far ahead at half time, it just, you know, it's maybe not a good thing. It's class to get the win and to get the points, but in terms of competition and for what they're going to face down the line and in the weeks to come, it's maybe not the best thing.
Look, you know, probably not, but I mean, you always have to keep focusing on the positives. You know, where Armagh's concerned, you know, they'll take out of it that, you know, that was a 5-9 to 110 win, you know, clinical on the goals, really, really good from that point of view, where sometimes Armagh may not have scored as many goals, you know, struggled to get in that, you know, close and be as clinical. So from that point of view, yes, really good. You know, there were bits and pieces of Armagh's play, you know, that Tyrone were able to break them down on. You know, silly last passes from Armagh, maybe a wee bit of overconfidence there. You know, Tyrone will take heart out of it. You know, they weren't, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, they weren't as poor as I thought they would have been. There were some really good passages of play from them. They worked really, really hard. You know, there's young girls there that are really, you know, fighting for a position there. And, you know, the likes of Niamh O'Neill as captain did stand up and did lead. And Niamh Hughes, you know, brought a lot of problems to the Armagh, you know, squad at times. So they have things to work on, and I wouldn't be so disheartened from their point of view. But yes, it's hard for Armagh. You know, like they brought on basically a different team, you know, at half time. And if you look at the scores, you know, both teams scored 1-4 in the second half. So, you know, a lot of disruption sometimes isn't good. But then, you know, I'm calling for the fact that you need to be putting on these subs, because when it comes to bigger days and you need these people, they need to be able to say, well, look, I've played on the big stage and I know what to do. So, look, you just have to take the positives out of it for your own team. You know, Tyrone will be looking at positives, things they can improve on, and so will Armagh as well.
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing, Keith, about putting everybody on then in that second half. You're building confidence and you're getting, you know, there's going to be competition for places there amongst the team now, and girls maybe that, you know, have been on the fringes, getting game time can only boost their confidence, and they'll go into training maybe this week with a spring in their step, and it just maybe lifts the competition for places and things in the team as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's nothing worse than, you know, training really hard and putting in lots of effort and never getting a chance to show what you're doing. And it's all right at training, you know, playing in-house games, but you really want to play against opposition and, you know, show that you can, you know, work the game plan that Armagh's playing. You know, they worked a really, really high press on Tyrone's kick out, which was fantastic to see. And they got a lot of people back behind the ball, which you could see that a really good level of fitness. So in terms of, you know, positions, you need a lot of people to be able to play a lot of positions there, and you need a lot of people to be able to come in and do a job for you, because that running game that Armagh are playing, you know, you couldn't keep the same 15 on the pitch for the whole time. So you need to be blooding in these young people, and they need to be able to know what role they can do and do a variety of things for Armagh.
Unfortunately, I wasn't at the game, but I've seen a few pictures and stuff. There seemed to be a big crowd in Wolftones, and the obviously the home crowd is a good help for Armagh, and hopefully it'll be the same again this weekend. I think the game's in the Athletic Grounds on Sunday, so another big crowd hopefully expected.
I think, you know, the couple of years that we've had, Sean, everybody's really happy to be out, to be going to matches, to be able to get there, you know, not having to maybe watch it on the TV, although the availability is there, which is also great to see. Yeah, there was a really, really great buzz. It's lovely to have a home venue, especially for your first league match. And then that will be an added bonus for Armagh next weekend, playing in the Athletic Grounds. They love playing there. You know, and there's always a really great atmosphere. So it was lovely, because there was lots of family members out watching, you know, their girls on the pitch, and it was a lovely thing to see yesterday. Yeah.
And just to finish up, Keith, everything's going well. Armagh's top of the league for the ladies, the men's and the hurlers. So it's a good start to 2022 anyway.
Long may that continue. Yeah, it makes it easier to talk about when things are going well. But look, there's a great buzz within the county. Everybody's wanting to talk about football, hurling. It's great. You love being able to say that Armagh's doing well, and all the work that's going on behind the scenes with everybody. In both codes, is really testimony to what's going on in Armagh, and a lot of people are working very, very hard. And look, Armagh will have a tough test still going forward. Kerry on the other side, had a bit of a battle against Tipperary but pulled away. And Armagh have had some really, really tough tests with Kerry along the way. So I'm presuming, maybe predicting too soon, but that might be the challenge for them on the other side. So they'll be preparing for that, I would say. Not looking too far ahead, but you always have to keep a step ahead of the game.
Well, hopefully they can get a win this weekend again and then push on for promotion over the next couple of weeks. Caoimhe, it was great to have you on once again, and we're going to hear from Danny McGee now. And as I said, he's going to talk us through winning player of the year last year and also Armagh's big win over Monaghan from the weekend. So Caoimhe, thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you, Sean.
So I'm very pleased to welcome on Danny McGee to the Sideline Eye podcast. Danny, you're here to talk to us for a couple of reasons. Armagh had a good win at the weekend there. They beat Monaghan by a good margin. I think it was 12 or 13 points in the end. But first off, we're going to talk about you were recently awarded the Player of the Year award for last season. So how does that make you feel?
Yeah, look, honourable achievement to even be nominated for it, let alone win it. But I suppose I'll make a point here, contrary to what the photo looks like. I was actually quite happy to receive that award, and my family and my friends were very proud as well. So it was a great moment to receive that, and then just touch on the base of the night as well. And credit to the organisers because it was a well-run night and things like that. There it was a very enjoyable night for all those who received their awards, and not just myself.
Yeah, it must be a big honour for you, and you say probably for your whole family and your club as well that you're winning Player of the Year awards.
Yeah, look, we've actually underwent a recent a lot of time and effort in our underage setup there and things like that there. So, it's good to be able. We have a couple of guys now, representing the county. Keelan McCann and Keelan Lafferty, myself, Royal Race was involved last year, so it's especially in the town of Lurgan, which is no shortage of Gaelic clubs. We're the only hurling club there really. Portadown started up recently again, but it's good. These underage kids is something to aspire towards, when they see, you like myself and others winning awards like this, it gives them something to sort of aspire to, and hopefully one day they'll be wanting to get themselves into an Armagh jersey and represent the county as well.
I suppose just you were awarded it on Friday night. I'm sure you found out beforehand that you were going to get it, but it must give you a bit of a boost heading into the new year, that you're heading into it as Player of the Year from last season.
Yeah, look, it's again, it's a massive achievement, especially for myself coming from our Sean Fitzy's hurling club there. I was actually, last year was probably one of the most prolific years in terms of scoring and things like that there, but with that being said, I can't go without recognising my teammates who, ultimately put me on that pedestal to be able to be nominated for that. So, look, again, a lot of guys from the panel last year probably could have got that award, but once I heard the news that I got it, I was, completely honoured. And, again, once I told my family and friends, they were completely happy for me. It's a great individual achievement, but I just like to recognise, that wouldn't have been capable without the help of my teammates throughout the year and stuff like that.
I suppose on an individual basis, what was the highlight of last year? I know promotion and the Nicky Rackard Cup, they were the big things, and they are again this year, but I suppose your 5 goals against Leitrim was probably the individual highlight for yourself.
Yeah, look, I suppose individual highlight, that's probably one we can't really look past. I think it's the most I've ever scored in a senior competitive game. But again, look, my the 5 goals probably stole the headlines. But there was a lot of guys working really, really hard that day. I do recall it's a very, very hot evening, or a hot day, sorry, and we went down to 14 men quite early on. So, Paddy McBride, strikes a name that day that, I remember one stage he was taking the ball off 2 and 3 litre men. So without them guys putting that effort in, everything I touched that day really did turn to gold dust, and probably, in hindsight, probably did steal the headlines with the 5 goal haul. But again, it was just one of those days where everything I touched just sort of went for me. There's days where you don't have that sort of experience when you're playing matches and stuff. So thankfully that day I was just able to, when the guys were working hard to dispossess with the man down, it was just up to us to ensure that we were doing our bit at the end as well.
And Danny, we'll turn our attention to this year now, and Armagh had a big win at the weekend, 4-22 to 13 points, I think it was, against Monaghan. Were you expecting that sort of result, or I know certainly the start you maybe had a slow first 10 minutes or so, but was you expecting such an easy game or such a big margin?
No, I don't think all the way that could be the case. Anybody at the game or was following could probably see the first 10 minutes. It was nip and tuck. You could probably near enough say, Monaghan were there thereabouts. But we just sort of assessed ourselves after the Louth game. We set ourselves on some targets to be working towards, and we went out as a team and rectified our issues from the first game against Louth. We went out and we knew that if we worked hard, we would get the result again the Monaghan, irrespective of what the scoreline finished. So that wasn't on our minds. It was just about getting that second win, really. They were on a high after coming back from Warwickshire with 2 points. So, that game for us, it was just important for us not to take complacent there, really. And I suppose in the second half, once we got to a couple of goals on the bounce, then we pretty much pushed on from there. And I suppose with the finishing that strong, I suppose I can touch on a point there. It's just the strength of the players coming off the bench, really. So I think that was a big help as well.
Yeah, like Simon Doherty and Dean Gaffney on recently, and sort of talking about the squad depth and the competition for places, but I suppose you just want to focus on that forward line. Like the competition for places must be fierce in that forward line, Danny. And you had the likes of Owen McGuinness coming on against Louth and getting 2 goals. He started yesterday, and Kieran O'Neill come on yesterday and got a goal. Fintan Donnelly's another one. Like the competition in that forward line is brilliant at the minute.
Yeah, it's probably up there from one of the strongest panels from my first year on the team anyway. As you say there, you've guys with different abilities and different attributes, and when you're playing different opposition, something like springing Owen McGuinness off the bench at half time, teams might not be able to cope with that. Likewise with Tiernan O'Neill and Fintan Donnelly, 2 well-renowned hurlers, and Armagh from Katie there, so. Them guys need no introduction when they're coming off the bench at half time. And, we're long past the days of having 15 players, to win a match. We really are. You need 20 to 25 players now to win games. And even when it comes to a training perspective as well, having that strength in training as well when you're playing in-house matches and things like that really brings everybody on. It brings the best out in everybody. It keeps it relatively competitive. And that's the best thing when you're heading into these campaigns, because you're playing matches back to back, you've guys picking up knocks here and there, injuries. So, that really helps when you have that strength and depth in your squad.
And training must be good at the minute, Danny. Two games, 2 wins, top of the table. That you couldn't ask for a better start.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, 2 wins. We knew ourselves, after, last year, upon reflection, obviously there was no opportunity to redeem ourselves against Sligo. And we knew we wanted to set the mark this year moving out. So once we seen the panel we had, the strength we had, the training everyone's pushing everybody on. And I think that's the best. Ultimately, when you do see teams winning, league titles and championship titles, they're not in this. Yes, ultimately they're won on the day, but they're won long before in training sessions against each other when you're bringing each other on, because you just sort of set a standard and you sort of carry it through the full year. And you have everyone pushing at the wheel, then success is just around the corner.
And probably, I don't want to say you've your 2 toughest games left, but Tyrone and Roscommon are probably going to be your 2 toughest tests. I know Louth gave you a really good run for your money in the Monaghan game, probably the margin doesn't suggest a competitive game. But Tyrone and Roscommon, they're probably going to be your toughest test there. It's Tyrone in 2 weeks, then Roscommon the following week, I think, before you finish in Warwickshire.
Yeah, look, us and Tyrone are no strangers to each other. Like, anytime we play each other, the game does go down right to the very margin. Look, we were sort of like we've learned from the kind of first mistake there to get complacent and trying to think ahead. Our main focus is on ourselves, irrespective of what Tyrone are doing or Roscommon are doing. We've both had previous meetings with them, but again, look, this is a different year, different panels, different expectations. So look, we'll be more focused on ourselves and making sure we get our sort of camp right before we head into those games. But yeah, ultimately massive 3 weeks coming up here for us because it's pretty much set the standard for us. But we won't be thinking about Roscommon. Our next stop will be Tyrone in 2 weeks, and so we'll be looking forward to that.
And on the range of scores, or sorry, the competition places, Danny, I forgot to say to you about the range of scorers. We were praising the footballers last week that they had 11 different scorers throughout the game. The hurlers had 10 yesterday. So, like when you have that many scorers or players capable of scoring, it's going to be difficult for teams to defend against that and compete against that.
Yeah, look, it pretty much was. That's to say, we're pretty much focused on ourselves as a team. We're not too worried about who's doing all this. Not worried about it. Being heavily reliant on one person for the scores. So as you say, when that is spread across, 6 to 10 players, that is going to cause problems for any defence because if guys come off the bench there and they're able to pick scores, they could have come on and pick scores, they could have started and pick scores. So again, when you have that strength, when you're looking to change or when a game's in a melting pot and you turn around, you look at them options on a bench, and you're pretty much in a good position for any team you're sitting.
And I suppose, Danny, just to finish up then, you have 2 weeks off now, or you have next weekend off, and then you have Tyrone the following week. Is that a good thing, or is it a momentum killer? And maybe you have 2 wins under your belts. You want to continue that, and maybe it would have been better to have a game this weekend. Or he's happy enough. Maybe a 2 week lead up into that Tyrone game will be a good thing and plenty of time to prepare for it.
Yeah, no, look, we'd be happy enough. We knew the fixtures when they were released anyway, so we would have all preparation. I'm sure the management will have preparations and everything in place for what we're going to do the 2 weeks beforehand here. So, look, yes, we might not have a competitive league fixture, but that will not stop us from ensuring that we get the right training and get the right mentality coming in for this game in 2 weeks. As I said, us and Tyrone, we're no strangers to each other, and the games be quite fiery. So I'm sure we're all looking forward to it. We won't be getting. We know Tyrone are a coming team. We've played them and they got the better of us last year, and we've got the better of them, beforehand as well. So it'll be a nice, tasty fixture to come back to in 2 weeks' time.
So yeah, that game takes place in 2 weeks' time, and we'll be back on Thursday, and we'll be previewing all the action coming up this weekend. Danny, thanks very much for joining us and talking us through your Player of the Year award and your win over Monaghan as well at the weekend.
Brilliant, Sean. Thanks.